So I forget the exact time it was, but we get the initial alert that Sauce Gardner had been traded. And when I first saw that, there was no mention of the compensation. It was just Sauce Gardner traded to the Colts. Like that was the alert that popped up on my phone. And I've been a Jets fan for many years. I'm 39 years old. I've been a Jets fan since I was a baby, basically. But really, my conscious Jets fandom probably started around 6, 7, 8 years old in that range. So, been about 30 plus years I've been a Jets fan. I have been trained to experience pain. So, when I see something like Sauce Gardner traded to Colts, I immediately think, they're dumping him. Like this was, especially because they just signed him to a whopper of a deal. So I'm thinking to myself, what could they possibly be getting back if they're going to convince the Colts to take on that contract? And then I saw the compensation, 2 first-round draft picks, and I'm like, wow, Ron, the Jets actually made a good trade. Is that the right way to look at the Sauce Gardner deal?
They certainly got tremendous compensation for him. He's such a young player and he's such a building block. It's going to take a while to replace that talent because he really, at Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati, he didn't allow a touchdown pass while he was there. So he comes into the NFL. The Jets have one of the best press defenses for a couple of years. They dropped off a little bit this year, but the previous couple of years, they're in the top 5 in terms of allowing completion percentage to be so low. But they couldn't pass up the compensation. And now it's on the GM, who's had 1 year of draft experience. We could talk about that. It was a hit and miss draft. I kind of looked over, well, how did he do last year? And he did some things right. And he did some things I didn't like from last year's draft. And now he's tasked with rebuilding this roster. Of course, there was another trade that impacted the Jets as well. Jared, my first reaction wasn't the shock of that he was traded. My first reaction was kind of weird. It was, let's find out what that Cleveland jet line is and see if I can get if I can get Cleveland right away. And I missed on, I'd been sitting on the +2 because I kind of liked them before, but I found a site that hadn't moved their money line. So I was able to get Cleveland on the money line, still had to lay 105. But it's funny, my first reaction was not who was traded, but okay, the line's going to move. I got to get busy.
Yeah, that's spoken like a true gambler right there. I wasn't sure what the number would do because let's be honest, Sauce hasn't played, and I got some pushback on this on social media. I said he's graded out like an average corner this year. People thought I was calling him an average corner, and I think he has above average skills. I think he's a good shadow corner. I think in the right scheme, he's gonna probably shut down or at least be one-on-one with the wide receiver 1 of the other team. But the numbers are the numbers. Like his grade this year has been relatively average compared to years past. And I think the Jets felt that he's probably not playing to the level of the highest paid corner in the sport. So they were thinking, what can we get back for him? And the Colts, from what I read, again, now we're kind of getting the post-mortem of how the deal went down. It all materialized in about 3 or 4 days. The Colts kept upping the ante. And eventually it was a Godfather. Like they made him an offer they couldn't refuse. And the Jets eventually had to cave. And I think that's the next question of this, right? We saw a few of these players traded. Jets traded another one, Quentin Williams. And you get the age-old question, like, what would you rather have, draft picks or an all-pro? And I think that's I think it's more beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? Like the Jets, who are not going to win in this window with Sauce Gardner. Like he signed to a 4-year deal, highest paid corner in the sport. They're not going to win a Super Bowl in this 3-4 year window unless they can figure out the quarterback situation. And now what they've done with the first-round picks and then Quentin Williams, they got another first-round pick in 2027. They have now positioned themselves to actually get that quarterback of the future. So are you in the boat of I'd rather have the star player or I'd rather have the future draft picks, especially considering how many future draft picks the Jets were able to acquire on deadline day?
So this is a situation and team specific, but I would call this trade a win-win. You were right, with Justin Fields, there was an extremely low ceiling to whether or not they could even ever contend for the playoffs. So this had to be a big rebuild. The Jets are positioned to get one of the top quarterbacks, if not the top quarterback, in the next draft. And we don't know who that is right now, but whoever it is, the Jets are positioned that way. Plus, they have other picks to rebuild their defensive line. And part of what you said about Sauce Gardner is the fact that his defensive line wasn't doing him any favors as well. not enough sacks, had to cover a little bit longer. There were other things going on with the Jets besides the fact that it looked like their secondary wasn't producing as much.